Welcome to FX Options University, recorded live at the International Securities Exchange, the world's largest equity options exchange. Join the industry's top trading professionals as they provide insight and strategies for trading in the currency markets using FX options. FX options are a low-risk alternative to hedging currency moves in any market condition.
Daniel has a question. He says, when volatility actually explodes much greater than the pivots would have suggested, then what? What does it mean?
Well, for example, if you look at this chart here, let's take, and thank you very much, because I just kind of went over, that's a great way of saying that. So let me go over here to desktop monitor 2, and that was what I was alluding to in this situation, which occurred today with the euro currency, okay? If you take a look at the marketplace, we had this buy signal over here. Now, folks, this is a 15-minute candle pattern, so it's not like I'm using a 1 hour, which would be, you know, the higher the time frame, the more smooth or less sensitive the candle or an indicator is to market conditional changes. So here we have a huge pop in volatility and market direction change with the euro currency value. So the market tells us that the pivots are giving us a futuristic look that yesterday, as of yesterday's close, it was telling us that today would be a bullish market condition. And the reason I say that is because if you look at the way the lines were formulated, the red line of today was projected to be higher than the red line of yesterday. The green line was predicted and adjusted to be higher than yesterday's green line. So yesterday's close, you had an idea, hey, tomorrow's projected to be a bullish day. Meanwhile, we have a momentum indicator called Person's Pivot Studies, this blue arrow. It generated a upward bias, a buy signal, let's say. And that buy signal ensued, even though the market went up to resistance, tested it once, had a little bit of a sell-off, we never once generated an official sell signal until over here at around 1 in the afternoon. And from that sell signal, the market didn't go anywhere. And here we are sitting right here, right now. So in answer to the question, one goes with the other. We might have a pop in volatility, but you have to understand and check out the change in the market conditions during that new market time frame. So in other words, if yesterday we were predicted to be bullish, and all of a sudden, I can't predict. Well, I'm just not that good, Steve. I'm just not that good to say, hey, it is going to be so bullish. Today's the day where the whole world's going to go by and get long euro. Forget a 100-point day. We're going to have more like a 150-point day today. I'm not that good to give you but I am pretty good in understanding that if I'm going to look for a change in direction of the marketplace, wait for an indicator or candlestick. But I think that by showing you this system, I mean, it's pretty cool to sit here and do a presentation to say, let's see if the indicator is any good. Yesterday, it said today would be a bullish day, and yet here we are at a bullish day. So how do you adjust for that change in volatility in the marketplace? You have another indicator, another confirming set of some type of an indicator, such as either candles or my PPS study, to help you identify the current market condition. So hopefully that was a long-winded answer for you, but a thorough answer.
And an honest answer, John.
Or an honest answer. I mean, I guess I could give you a different answer, say, I don't know, good luck. No, I'm just teasing.
Let's go back and see if there's any other questions, John. Let's take it back.
You know, one of the other things, Steve, that we've done with you before is we talked about, and that's another indicator, definitely it's not correlated to any of the technical analysis that we worked with right now, is to look at past historic price studies, and namely called seasonality. And one of the other books that I wrote was called the Commodity Trader's Almanac. And the interesting part about that, folks, is that even though it says the Commodity Trader's Almanac, it has to do with foreign currencies, bonds, S&Ps, and we deal with a lot of highly correlated stocks and ETFs to the commodities. There's a strong seasonal tendencies that take place from a supply and demand function in the marketplace that even exists with foreign currencies. And that's something else because you get end of month, end of quarter, end of year, end of fiscal year buying and selling pressures, which that has a lot to do with the market. And I think that's one of the other things that can help traders to identify shifts in the supply and demand or trends in the marketplace. So it's not just looking at pivots, it's not just looking at candles. Those are two elements. There's a lot to coming up with the trading decision and putting money on the line. It's if I'm going to be looking at a market that moves, why would it move and where could it move to, and then start implementing some type of trading strategy. And that's where I think the education that ISE does with these webinars to show people, hey folks, by the way, here's an option strategy. There's all different ways to capture a move in the marketplace. And I think I touched a little bit about that, whether one would have a very mild bullish position like a credit put spread or an aggressive bullish position like an outright call option.
John, remember the seasonality presentations have been excellent, and you make a great point is that, and I'm sure you teach this all the time, you really don't want to trade on just one indicator, and you've mentioned that you want to use a couple of them and then find your own strategy, and that seems to make the most sense to me. Question for you, John. Does TradeStation have person's pivots or not?
A TradeStation I have with TradeStation, it's a library plugin that we lease.
Okay.
And it's not just person pivots. We have person's pivots. We have a scanning feature built into TradeStation where it's more of a complete trading system. But the answer would be yes.
Okay. And then do you have any other relationships with other brokers?
I've done a lot of different webinars and a lot of education with other brokerage firms. I have, as far as TradeStation has, we work together. I do work together with, obviously, Thinkorswim, and I have worked with others in the past. Currently, not every brokerage firm licensed or has my indicators on their platforms. Legally, I guess, would be the correct way of saying it.
Right. What about Trade
Not
Navigator?
that I know of.
John, what about the Trade Navigator software that's available?
Well, good question. Trade Navigator by Genesis Financial Technologies is a phenomenal, independent, non-broker related trading software. Like there's Metastock, and I think you're having another guest, Jeff Gibby. I know Jeff. Tell Jeff hello. Metastock is another, just outright platform, non-broker to do analytics. And in fact, Trade Navigator works through several brokerage firms so that you could link your trading account through your trading platform. But it's very similar in nature, very powerful trading platform, very powerful analytic platform to do, create your own indicators, to use their indicators, and to do analytics for your trades, which I have plugins, and I think even right now you could see if I went back. Well, you can't because we're off the. But
I can take you back. Sorry. Here.
Sure, no worries.
Sorry. Let me just do that one more time. Sorry. You're good. You can take it back, John.
All right. View. So this is Trade Navigator right here. This is actually my personal day trade setup. We have the E-mini S&Ps, the NASDAQ, the yen, the Australian dollar, the euro currency. As you can see, I have, stochastics, and I'd mentioned I was fairly impartial to using stochastics after working with George Lane. Treasury notes, treasury bonds, the euro currency. We have both a 5-minute and a 15-minute. And for you day traders out there, these are my two favorite time periods that I like to look at, a dominant trend being the 15-minute. While the 15-minute is in a buy mode, I like to more or less take within that trend, I like to take the 5-minute buy signals. So when we get, like, for example, I think another great question today or earlier, an individual said, well, what do you do to adjust for volatility in the market? And I was just going to show that on the 15-minute chart of the S&Ps, we had, and it's a little slow here to react with WebEx, but I'm sure it'll come up in a second, a buy signal from this morning, and as you can see, we didn't even generate a sell signal till way up here. Now, the market went from this really strong trend. You get a sell signal on a 15-minute basis that occurred on the close at 11,983. This is the Dow. So by using Genesis, here we go. We have a buy signal that comes in at approximately 7 a.m. this morning, and we didn't even, this whole trend up, the indicators helped keep you from making a dreadful mistake by selling near maybe daily pivot resistance. What's interesting about Genesis is that I can change the time frames of my pivots from, as you can see at the top of the screen here, JP daily, weekly, monthly. If I want to do sectors, subsectors, look at different components of different stocks or products like the ISE's Euro index, I can convert from using a Euro currency future straight over to a different index. So this allows me to look at the markets using my indicators. Great format, speed. It's truly, like, for me, this is a great product for analytics. And that's, so at least to give you an eye-opening into the different world of different platforms. TradeStation is fantastic, one of the best I used. In fact, you can't see it, but over here in my library bookshelf, I've got a TradeStation Omega Research 4.0 with my security block. And for any of you TradeStation folks out there, you know that's antiquated. I think that was from 1996, I believe. So, but in any event, it all depends on what you're familiar with and understanding. I think today's presentation was best to do to show that here, this stuff works on a slew of different markets and slew of products. And for securities traders wanting to take advantage of currencies, man, this is a great way of using another analytical tool to help give you A, condition, and B, price ranges within that condition. So hopefully that kind of covered the questions there. Steve?
John, I want to thank you, and I want to give you a moment to give us some closing comments. And I also want to recommend, and I hope John could expand on it, his website, nationalfutures.com. He has a lot of free education there, so what's better than that? John, would you mind talking a little bit about your website and just give us some closing comments?
Sure. The website's nationalfutures.com. You'll find a lot of great information there. In fact, there's even where a lot of websites make you sign in if you want something. If you go up to, and I don't know if we got another minute, Steve?
Sure. You want to go show it? Yeah. Hold on a second. Yeah, you should have it in a second, John. Sorry.
All right, no worries. Folks, if you want to take a look, I'll show you and walk through some really, really, really neat things. And the reason they're there is, no offense, please don't take offense to this, folks. It's really there for my benefit, not yours, because like Steve said, I travel a bit, and so when I'm overseas and I want to find something quickly, I can just go to my own website. One of the things that I hate the most is every time you need to get to something and they ask for your name, rank, serial number, email, firstborn, all that stuff. This is real simple. The website here, nationalfutures.com, if you want to read, there's all kinds of neat articles. If you go over here to where it says trading tools, there's a report, the CFTC Commitment of Traders. This is a great consensus indicator. We don't have time. Maybe I'll go through that another event, how to use the Commitment of Traders report, but it's right there. Industry links and the pivot calculator. If you want to learn more about pivot calculator, click right there. Here's a pivot point calculator, just whatever your instrument you're using. If you're looking at interest rates, type in whatever the high might be, the low, and what the current rate or yield is. And I'm just throwing in some numbers. So if you have an interest rate even and it's not on someone's platform or not available, if you wanted to do a long-term, like a 6-month pivot or an annual pivot, you could do this by hand and hit submit. It's right there. So there's a pivot calculator. More importantly, there's an article about pivot analysis, And there's more, of course, with using a Fibonacci calculator. One click, you're right there. If you want to find out more about me, obviously just click through home. And if you want to be contacted, then hit contact us, fill out your information, and we'll be glad to hook you up. We also have an advisory service where I do research on various commodities. We do nightly and market conditions change videos on the marketplace. And, of course, we have calendar events, what earnings are coming out, all sorts of valuable information for traders. And, again, we put out a monthly newsletter, which this is a new month, so we have a new newsletter. If someone's interested in a 30-day trial, then go to our visit us, hit contact us, and then say, hey, I'd like a trial of your newsletter. So, Steve, that's where everyone can find me, and that's a little bit about the National Futures website.
John, thanks again for taking time out of your busy day, especially a day like today when we saw a lot of breakouts from the person pivot point. As John said, you can't always predict those, but if you're on the right side of the trend, and I think the pivots are going to help you, you'll at least know where this market might stop. There's no guarantees, and John's the first one to tell you that. John, can you just give us any closing comments? First of all, I want to say thanks again for delivering this quality presentation. You always do a great job. And,
well, sure.
First one of 2011.
Yeah, the first thing I would absolutely pay attention to this 138.70, 139 handle. If you think about it, just 3 weeks ago, the market was at 128.75 range. So we've moved, 10 big points, 10 handles in the euro currency. That's, just think about it. I mean, 3 weeks ago, everyone thought there was a north and a south euro currency. The tabloid media gurus were talking that the euro currency was going to zero. If you look at that pivot analysis that we went through together, last month, January's pivot support hit dead on a dime. So maybe you weren't bullish on the market, but by looking at that, you certainly wouldn't have sold in the hole. And I think after a 10-point move in 3 weeks, we might see the market at least stall or, right up against the expiration pivot resistance around that 138.75, 139, which A, it's a 10-point move, B, it is monthly pivot resistance, and it might give you a shot at maybe some short-term trades up in there. You have monthly unemployment report. We still have earnings to go through and unrest in the Middle East. There's still a lot going on in the world. Take it one trade at a time, and as I always say, if you have the right education, you're going to get a step ahead. Education probably is one thing, but getting the right education is very important. And, in conclusion, Steve, I'm sure everyone's, always said that they've lost their shirt trading. And that's okay because you're going to have losing trades. Just make sure you don't lose your pants because that's where your wallet's at. If you lose your shirt and your pants, you got no chance of getting back into the game. So please, folks, keep it one trade at a time. And I think by getting the right education, continuing with the educational seminar series with the ISE and myself, I think that you'll see an improvement in the long haul because this is not a home run business. This is one hit at a time. Steve, thank you so much for allowing me to present with your group and the audience.
I concur. One hit at a time. You don't need to hit a grand slam. Try to survive every day, make some money, be on the right side of the trend. You're not always going to be there, but that's why options are there occasionally if you need them to limit your risk or hedge. John, thanks again. Really appreciate it. And I'm looking forward to you coming back real soon for our ETF series.
Awesome. Excellent. I look forward to it. Thank you so much, Steve, and I hope to see you in New York, man.
Absolutely. Thanks, John. So does John Person. Right, John does a great job. Take care, John. That was John Person. As I said, always does a great job. Just a reminder, as John mentioned, here are the symbols. So be looking at the Australian dollar. You might want to look at AUM, British pound, GBP, euro. You can look at EUI or EUU, which is more like the spot. YUK, Japanese yen, Swiss franc, SFC, and so on. So they're all there. And just want to remind you that you can trade this right through your equity options broker. These are cash settled, and you can even use spreads. Next week, we'll have Jason Ayers with us, and then Nicole Wax, Mike Radke, Steve Mezek. So lots coming. Please sign up for all the other FX. In fact, in about 20 minutes or so, we're going to do an ETF presentation. So if you're interested, come and join us back again. Jeffrey Gibby from Metastock will be talking about trading ETFs using his RMO methodology. Please, again, 20 minutes from now, sign up and you could get another free webinar. On behalf of the ISE, this is Steve Meisinger, thanking John Person for a wonderful job as always, and I want to wish everyone a safe and happy trading day tomorrow. Good night, all.
Thank you for participating in this week's session. Please join us again next week. Get trading ideas, exchange rates, webinars, news, and commentary. Visit www.fxoptions.com. ISE FX options can be easily traded through all options-enabled brokerage accounts. These exchange-listed securities are cash-settled in U.S. dollars and have a European-style exercise.